You again. What do you want?
I know you believe.
They are. I know, I saw one, but no one
Tell me what you...
It was a few years ago. Clay Cox was still the boss then. He'd sent me to the shipyard to find out who was stealing tools and ropes at night.
Go on.
First, I thought it was an old lady with a limp. It looked frail and crooked. Then I saw it grab a bloody beam and lift it like it was a stick. I shouted. It looked straight at me.
Do you know what it was?
It was all eyes and long teeth, but I couldn't see its face. I shot at it when it moved towards me and I hit it. And then it jumped and vanished in the shadows.
You could have imagined all that. These docks can be so gloomy at night. With the fog and the wind and the boats creaking.
No, Doctor. That night I saw the fucking sewer dog for real. It's not a beast like the stories say. It's the ghost of an old woman. Bullets can't stop it. But no one believes me.
Are your friends mock?
Even Edwina told me once to never speak about it, but I know what I saw. And it wasn't a human. No.
Goodbye.
To the sewers.
It's locked, all right.
Crush the leech, boy!
Christ, he's dead! Take a breath of this! Don't come closer!
Very festivals. Yeah, they burned bodies up there. Got stuff there. Alright, so here's the plan going forward. There's a guy located in this hospital here. Not hospital, just sewers. After re-listening to his guy talk a few times, I determined that the guy actually did flee to the sewers. Pretty high level area, so I'm gonna go there, rescue this dude, and then probably continue with the main quest. So enjoy.
Ah!
I cannot enter. It's locked. Are you all right, miss?
I don't know.
They've lost their minds in the epidemic.
You seem to know a lot about...
I'm Dr. Jonathan Reed.
I am Xiaoxun. Thank you so much.
Shouldn't you go back home, where you'll be safe?
Maybe later. But for now, I need to talk to my husband at the cemetery.
It's locked, all right. It's locked.
Well, sadly that was a wash. Probably have to unlock that area as I progress through the story. Major Beverly.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Pepper,
Yes? Milton Hooks is my man.
I have no intention of reporting you, Nurse.
The rules say I won't be allowed to work as a nurse anymore. But here at the Pembroke, we...
Is he worth?
Hey, I'm no perfect woman, and Milton is not the...
Goodbye.
But the suffering continues.
Please, Jonathan, come in. Fascinating, is it not? In the last decade, so many mysteries have been brought to light with our microscopes. The human body, an ultimate frontier. The more we explore its boundaries, the less we're able to trace a clear line between life and death. You, my friend, have a foot in both countries. The view must be vertiginous.
It's at least as vertiginous as chatting about vampires with you, I would say.
This must be all so new to you. This area of town.
I wish I could share your enthusiasm, Dr. Swan.
I cannot express my thrill at this serendipitous turn of events. The world's most eminent specialist in blood transfusions, a vampire. One might say a gift from heaven.
It may seem strange, but your word...
Forgive me. I've been an admirer of your work.
There is no need to apologize, Edgar.
Very well. I have a...
Please.
The Pembroke only survives through the generosity of our benefactors. Unfortunately, our main donor has found herself in a bit of a bind. You could help her out.
A spokesman or politician is what you need. That's not my calling. And until I come to understand what has happened to me, I require discretion.
Discretion is in order, Jonathan. Lady Ashbury has recently received rather indelicate that, if revealed, would jeopardize her position.
And you would like me to
By the stole, of course not. I would just like you to pay her a visit. Her ladyship is certainly near the tents outside, tending the sick. You can't miss her. Look for someone impossibly delicate.
Accepted. I'll see what...
Mr. Rainfield, that's no way to talk. You're in good hands here, and we'll be up again soon enough. Now do me a kindness and get some sleep. I'll be back round later.
Your words are kind, the blessings of an angel. You're the sweet, sweet Lady of Mercy.
Good evening, Dr. Reed. It's a pleasure to see you. You seem surprised. Dr. Swansea has brought me up to speed concerning your recent
You're a vamp... The lady who saved me that night, before vanishing into thin air. I remember you from the pub with Dr. Swansea.
Indeed. Allow me to introduce myself formally this time.
Apologies. You've taken me by surprise.
The pleasure is mine.
I hope you're more disposed to answer my question.
You must have countless questions, but I rather...
Pardon my boldness, your ladyship, but
As a newborn, your hunger for answers is rivaled only by your...
I'm a scientist. My trade is in the deciphering of...
I will gladly answer every question you have, but first...
Have any of the
These poor souls have so little left to live for.
The world would be a better place if it were kept.
You make me blush.
Dr. Swansea has commissioned me to be your agent in this matter. You could start by explaining what's amiss.
These past insufferable weeks, I've been the...
Who would be so foolish as to threaten?
Case, and I highly doubt it. A vampire would have asked for something more valuable than money.
If we're dealing with an ordinary criminal, surely you've the means to deal with it yourself, if I may.
As immortal tradition doth dictate, all fangs and hypnotic eyes ablaze. The blood river. That's what I hope to avoid. Violence has a tendency to spiral out of control.
What are your expectations?
As the newly appointed surgeon of this
Please continue.
My embarrassment in this matter is eclipsed only by my shame at having put the hospital at risk. The threat from our anonymous scoundrel is clear. A list of dates. My visits coinciding with the dates of suspicious patient deaths due to massive blood loss.
Is it true?
Now aren't you the blunt one?
We both are afflicted with a thirst for blood, Lady Ashbury. That is our nature. By vocation, we also have reason to visit the hospital. Logic dictates.
In all honesty, I'm not simply a patron to the hospital. My visits serve a dual purpose. Dr. Swansea has been treating my condition with a revolutionary technique of blood transfusion. It seems you are a specialist in the domain.
I'll take care of it.
If that was the case, I'd settle the matter you could...
I'll meet that woman.
My life, as others know, is in your hands.
I know we are overwhelmed by this...
Good evening,
Dr. Reed,
Have you heard of any underhand deal?
I have no time for such triviality, my dear colleague. We're here...
Goodbye. Good evening, miss.
I need blood, Doctor. Warm.
Have you heard of any blackmail?
I have no time for mortal.
I'll leave.
Do you need some...
I have met...
She's a fascinating...
Is she the true reason you recruited me?
Lady Ashbury is a cherished friend of mine. I would not betray her...
I have...
Then ask away.
You mentioned something about a secret society.
Certainly. I've been a...
That explains your nightly wanderings about the docks and the questions you ask.
I feel it wasn't mere coincidence that led us to that part of town. There was something as yet unseen that set those chain of events in motion.
Yet you don't fear me. And still, you know the monster.
The Brotherhood has studied your kind for centuries. We believe you are as supernatural as a lion is to a gazelle.
Since you seem quite the expert on...
As men of science, our first step is always to start with what we know. Forget the myths, the hackneyed scrawlings, and the penny dreadfuls. They do not scratch the surface of the truth you now find yourself in.
The sun. The morning following my...
You will find there is very little that can kill a vampire, my friend. You have been offered relative immortality. The sun will most certainly hurt you, leaving you weakened and damaged, but it will not destroy you.
Must I?
You are a vampire. You feed, and blood is the sole sustenance that can sustain your immortal frame. And only a living creature contains the nourishment you require.
Since I'm the one working for you...
Well, for many years, we have been the only medical facility...
Where do we stand today?
Oh, to be honest, we cope on a day-to-day basis.
What do you expect?
What we need is hope.
The man we pursued and slew in the canning factory...
He was a Skald, technically speaking. The debate rages as to their classification. Some think them a subspecies of vampire, others something else.
Just for clarity, what differences are there between myself and a Skald?
A Skald is easier to eliminate, Jonathan, even if they remain formidable foes for the unprepared. Vampires... Now, vampires exist beyond the mortal realm.
How do Skalds come into existence?
The name means slave. The etymology are a lesser species of vampire. From what I know, vampires tend to despise them.
We'll see. Good evening, Mr.
Evening.
Have you heard rumors?
If you want to know what's going on here.
Goodbye.
Bread with no respect.
Hello again.
Goodbye.
But the suffering continues.
What is this? Who are you? Get out!
There's no need for alarm, madam. I'm Dr. Reed.
Preposterous. Dr. Reed, you say? I don't want some bumbling intern. Where's Dr. Swansea?
Please, calm down, madam. I assure you that I am highly qualified. I'm just back from war duty.
How brave. Threatening an old defenseless woman. You know how long I've been a patient here? You've picked the wrong fight. I'm Harriet.
Harriet Jones? Indeed. I've been meaning to have a chat with you. You know what goes on here better than any other patient, I gather.
Oh, better than any patient, nurse, or doctor. I've seen so many vile undertakings.
I heard there have been some despicable goings-on. Was there a case of...
Blackmail? Wait. You're investigating something. This isn't a social call. One of those incompetent cunts slit a poor sod's vein.
I assure you, madam, this is not...
Debauchery versus Crane, Hawkins, Brannigans. Whores, all of them. They can't keep their legs shut. I've seen them scratching slutty sores.
Really? Well, if you have irrefutable proof, I'll not have the staff behaving in such a manner here.
This is your business, Doctor, not mine. But I swear one of the nurses is cavorting with some man on hospital hours.
Thank you for your time, Miss Jones. Give... Miss Jones. Now...
Well...
If you could just tell me...
It's terrible, Doctor. What with a pain in my chest, coughing up...
I see.
No one comes to visit, you know. Not even my...
Have you noticed any suspicious coming?
It would be a great deal easier to make a list of things unsus...
Come now, Miss Jones. Surely it...
Have you no eyes? This hospital accepts all...
Everyone here is very capable.
Thieves and murderers, the lot. People have gone missing here, you know. Poof! Without a trace.
The patients and staff might know something. I'll start my investigation with them.
I wonder what your last thoughts would be, sir.
Good evening, Milk.
Good evening, Doctor.
Have you heard of any
There are a lot of secrets round here. I'm not surprised someone tried to make money from them.
What kind of secrets?
I'm not in the gossip business, Dr. Reed. If you want to know more, you better talk to Harriet Jones. She's the oldest patient.
Goodbye.
You're sure you don't come back with me?
Nah, I have to see someone at the hospital.
Be careful. You look so bad they may keep you as a patient.
I don't like hospitals, or doctors.
Well then, when you go back to Whitechapel, you may find this useful.
What is it?
A pass for a free medical exam by the best nurse available. Just read it.
Read well, but thank you, I guess.
He's locked the door behind him. I need to find another way to follow him. This man has been savagely attacked and dragged to the floor.
I can't breathe. I can't breathe. I can't breathe!
Are you injured, sir?
Help me get out of here!
I'm Dr. Reed, and I'd be glad to help you, but you...
Okay.
Mr. Thatcher, your friend Newton sent...
Yes, yeah.
Good. Now leave this place and enjoy the cool night air. Are you sure you're all right?
Yeah.
is this? Here's what's left of him. Not a lot to check, but I should anyway. Some voucher for a free checkup in Whitechapel. What is Nurse Crane up to? I really must find her.
I'll be right back.
That is the last thing our patient...
Good evening, nurse.
Good evening, Doctor.
Why does Dr. Tippett's claim you're the main reason he keeps working?
If it wasn't for him, I probably would have left the
Dr. Tippett does not think of you as just a nurse anymore, does he?
If you're suggesting he's not taking my gender into consideration when it comes to medical practice and knowledge, I really hope he doesn't.
Goodbye, nurse. Good evening.
Good evening.
Goodbye.
I met him in New York.
Perhaps I should
only
have
there were
considered the
more
offer from that cabin.
less resignation and more determination.
I know I can count. I wish I could say the same for the others.
You look exhausted. You're pushing yourself too hard. You don't have to bear the burdens of this hospital alone.
How can I be sure I'll not find your unconscious body in the house again?
I promise you, you'll not find my unconscious body.
For God's sake, how can you say such a thing?
How can you refuse to listen? I tried to warn you for so long.
No, I won't let my only son die. You promised me you'll stay alive.
Your son lied to you, like the whole world lies to us.
Good evening, Mr. Goswell.
I'm okay.
Admit it, Mortimer. Your mother had you hospitalized here because you tried to kill yourself.
Yes, it's true.
All right, then. This is the first time we've really shared information about your case. Shall we call this progress?
Call it what you want, Dr. Reed.
Can I help you in any way, Mr. Goswick?
I wrote a letter for my mother. She was supposed to read it after my death. But I suppose she doesn't have to read it now.
I see. And is this letter...
Yes. And I don't want anyone reading my last word.
You can trust me. I won't report you to the authorities.
I guess I should thank you.
I have to go...
I'm all right. Don't waste your time with me.
Good evening, Doc.
Your son wished to die, Beatrice. Why did you...
Are you not aware suicide is a crime? Mortimer could be thrown in jail. I can't let that happen. I won't.
I understand you fear the legal consequences, Mrs. Goswick. But don't you realize your silence significantly affects your son's case?
All my son needs is help and comprehension. Not judgment and punishment for what he may or may not have done.
Goodbye, Mrs. Goswick.
You always knew the words to calm the children. As for me, what a blooming idiot.
Don't waste your time with me.
Hello again, Mr. Thatcher. Do you...
Yes, this neighborhood may stink of dog shit and reek of piss.
Why were you locked in that...
I went by the canal after an argument with a friend. Got...
Why did you run?
Newton wanted me to go to a hospital, but I can't stand being closed in. Makes me...
Tell me about your claustrophobia. Has anyone given...
That's what the bloody doctors said. But I don't want to go to a hospital to get checked again. I'll deal with it me...
Oswald, why did you not go to the Pem...
I don't trust doctors. All they care about was their careers and processes. I won't be locked in any room again by anyone.
Your fear of being trapped is not going to go away by itself.
I've seen enough butchers in white coats to last a lifetime. Hospitals reek of chemicals and death. What I need is fresh air.
Mr. Thatcher?
No. Since I came back from the war, I spent most of my time and energy just trying to forget.
I understand.
No. Nobody can truly understand what I've...
Do you want to talk about why you have this fear?
No!
An irrational fear like yours is usually rooted in a specific...
Well, Doctor, take a guess then, if you're so interested in my case.
When I rescued you, you expressed joy at seeing the sky again. So I'm inclined to believe you were trapped or buried somehow. Maybe during a shelling.
Jeez, you're good, Doc. You're really good.
Go on, please. Tell me more about it.
Newton and I were trapped in a circulation tunnel after an... We were buried alive for several days, without ever knowing if we'd be found.
Oswald, tell me about what happened when you were buried in that tunnel with Newton.
It was more than dark. It was black as pitch. Hours seemed like days, and days like months.
Shameful thought.
At some point, I don't remember which day, but when I thought we'd never be rescued, that this would be our end, I thought about...
Say it, Mr. Thatcher. If you ever want to heal, you have to say it.
I thought about what I could do to survive just for a few more days. I thought about killing Newton. Killing and eating him. The man I fucking love.
What you endured was terrifying.
It did not destroy Newton.
Tell me about...
I love him. I'm not ashamed to say it. He's the best thing that ever happened.
Why should you be ashamed?
I'm not, I said.
I admire... It takes courage.
Courage is what we needed in the trenches.
Have you always been?
All I know is, before you saved me by the sewer, my only regret was I wouldn't be able to hold or kiss Newton again.
Goodbye.
The lucky one.
Hello again, Mr. Blight.
I'm eternally grateful, Doc.
You are always...
I'm not giving up on bringing Oswald back.
Perhaps he needs...
Could you speak to him?
Why do you stay...
It's complicated.
Can you speak about...
Rats, sir. Even seeing one.
What can you tell me about...
War was...
Did you know Oswald Thatcher before the...
No. We met in the battlefield.
I fought in France, too. As a field surgeon. But it was not uncommon to repel an assault, especially at night.
Yeah. The first time I was wounded, I had to protect the infirmary from hostiles. Twice.
You and Oswald...
Yeah. It was last...
Oswald seemed...
It wasn't the first time it happened to me. Surviving it again gave me strength. You believe that?
How did you so...
Luckily for us, there were rations and water in the tunnel. It was an outpost, see? Since then, Oswald's not keen on being inside for too long.
How do you feel about Oswald?
I love him. I love Oswald.
What frightens you so much?
What if people find out? Oswald says I'm ashamed, but it ain't that. It's more, well...
Enjoy your love. And enjoy life.
I appreciate your kind words, sir.
What caused your...
It happened last year following an artillery attack. I was trapped for 2 days in a hole under 2 dead soldiers. And there were rats.
Go on.
They started eating me as soon as I dozed. Gnawing at my ears, my lips. I couldn't move. Couldn't call for help.
I see.
No, you don't. You have no idea what it is to wake up buried under bodies. Fucking vermin eating your flesh. Oswald. He found me and saved me.
Goodbye, Mr. Good evening.
Evening, Doc.
Newton is conflicted about his feeling.
It makes me sad and angry. It feels like the beautiful thing we have is...
His love for you is genuine. I'm certain he will...
Newton still has to accept it, knowing he'll be seen as a queer, a fairy, less than a man in those simple-minded bigots' eyes. Though he's more of a man than they'll ever be, so fuck them all.
Do you need medical...
Don't get me wrong, sir. But I've never felt comfortable.
I'm certain you have your reasons. But let me assure you,
It is true. You risked your life to save me, after all. It would be impolite to refuse your counsel.
Goodbye, Mr. In this letter, Mortimer Goswick does nothing to hide his desire to die. I could give it to his mother, but doing so would betray his trust. Good evening, Miss.
I'm okay.
I've read your letter, Mortimer.
There's nothing more to say, really. It's hurtful, it's unbearable, and I don't ask anyone to understand what I feel.
Despair is a deadly poison I've tasted myself, sir. We're only tempted to drink it because we're terrified by the uncertainty of the next minute.
I know that perfectly, Doctor. For I waited for so long, hoping that the next minute would be less unbearable.
I have to go.
I'm all right. Don't waste your time with me.
Calm the children, Ellen.
Good evening, Doctor.
As for me...
Mortimer is extremely vague as to his...
As you say, Mortimer had no reason to die. All he said to me was that he wanted to make the world a better place, but couldn't.
Why did your son feel...
I think it was more that he could only see the melancholy facets of...
What do you think he meant by making the world a...
Mortimer has always been a sensitive soul. He wouldn't talk to anyone for months after his father passed. It's like he carries everyone's sadness.
Do you realize your son could try to kill himself again?
I think about it every minute, but I won't stop.
You're right. Your son's death was not fatal, and unlike many on their own, he is by his side.
I can't give up on him. I just can't. I have conceded many times in my life, but giving up on my...
I have read your son's suicide note. It was not an impulsive gesture, nor was it his first attempt.
He threatened to kill himself a few times before. But I never thought he would dare to punish me this much.
Punish you? Why?
I've known for a long time he was not happy with his life. But I always hoped he cared enough to avoid making me suffer like this.
Goodbye, Miss.
Good evening, Doctor.
Your son asked me to find this letter.
I already know what I'm going to read. Mortimer, why are you acting in this way? I have done everything I can to help you, but it's not enough.
We will talk about this letter later. I understand.
Before you leave, take this.
Good. Good evening, Miss.
I'm okay.
Your mother won't let you down, Mortimer.
No.
Won't you even...
Do you want me to promise you I'll get better? Do you want me to...
I have to...
I'm all right. Time with me.
blood.
And more of these bloody leeches every night.
When did you join? 2 days ago. This is my first patrol. It's closed. Too strong!
Whitechapel. This neighborhood is linked somehow to the Lady Ashbury's blackmail. First, let's find this Petrescu fellow. Are you all right?
The bastard hit the wall next to me. I don't even know if he meant to miss.
If you've been hurt, I can help.
Name's Albert. Remember.
I found the recruiter you were expecting. He's dead, but he carried a note. The Wet Boot Boys have accepted...
I knew it! I told you I was tough enough. I'll be free soon.
This note was found on a dead man, Albert. If that doesn't change your mind...
You're all fancy words, none of which concern me.
Do you know Nurse Dorothy?
Never heard of her. She's pretty, I'll keep an eye out.
What happened? Did you really...
Hey! I didn't do anything, it ain't me!
Medication and drugs are a rare commodity in East London. So you picked an easy target, didn't you?
Sod off, mister. You ain't got no clue what's going on.
It's true. I'm not familiar with this part of town. Perhaps you could help me.
I said sod off.
Goodbye.
The Wet Boots will be proud of me.
What? Shooting a boy in the middle of the street. Not the best...
What? You saw what happened?
I'm Dr. Reed, and I'd like to...
No. Look, I'm not a violent man. I'm Benjamin.
Do you know...
It's funny, I've been searching for her too. I need some...
Really?
Word is she ain't real. She's a cover for some doctor who runs an illegal dispensary for migrants.
What can you...
Nothing to say, really.
You don't have anywhere to go?
Not since the death of my wife, Albert's mother. She was sick, you see. Long before the flu and all this shit.
You mean you used to have a...
Yeah, I had a wife, a home, and a job. I even used to...
Perhaps...
I'm sick, broke, and my son just stole my pills.
What is it, Benjamin? It was...
The doctors called me a liar. A coward. Put me in a straitjacket, locked me up. Finally, they sent me back to the front lines with a handful of tablets.
It's a pity that doctors still practice such barbaric...
Now only the pills stop me thinking about this shit. To not hear the explosions. I'm even scared of the dark these days.
Whatever the boy did, I'm sure he didn't
I swear I didn't want to hit him. It's just that... I'm sick in the head, you see, and the boy he just failed me last nerve.
A gun? Good evening.
Good evening, sir.
Actually...
Then you have come to the right place.
Oh, really?
Ah, my brother has spoken of your research, sir. I'm Loretta Swanborough, and it's always a pleasure.
Do you know...
I don't like to talk about
competition, you say?
Never met her, but it seems she provides some sort of medical...
Tell me.
The region itself is something to see, but I would say...
What do you think?
Most of them are afraid or desperate.
Is there any...
Cadogan Bates, without a doubt. The bloody bastard remorselessly exploits poor migrants as soon as they get here.
I'd like to see what kind of...
Drugs for the sick and suffering.
By many. Even flu is no match for the Swanborough cordial. When science fails you, this elixir will give you...
Good evening, sir.
If you're here for a reward, you're...
I'm not here for a bounty.
A doctor? In Whitechapel? What an opportunity. My name...
Do you require a...
Not me, but your skills could help a lot of people.
I'm looking...
Dorothy Crane, bless her soul.
Has she treated?
No. When I need a checkup...
It's unusual to see someone's...
Why should I be sad now? There've always been wars, disease, tragedy. There always will be.
That's an unusual way of seeing...
I don't see why I should shed a tear for another man's woes. I'm healthy, and I intend to stay so.
What is your business?
I offer fair lodgings for a modest...
I see. And what about the...
Well, deals can be done, if you know what I mean. Money's not the only currency. After all, I'm not immune to a pretty face.
I don't approve of your actions, but I know very little.
A necessary evil. That's one way to think about it. Knew you had more...
Tell me.
People are just beginning to discover what we've always known.
What do you mean?
People are acting like the violence is news. But it's always been savage down here. It just bubbles to the surface every now and again.
What help could I...
That's simple. I already get good money from all those fleeing the war. Can you imagine what they'd be willing to pay if I could offer medical assistance too?
Mr. Bates, do not make me regret saving...
I understand, Dr. Reed, you're from a good family. Don't want to get your hands dirty. That's fine. I'll be happy to act...
I've no interest in money. Perhaps one night I will visit you and take what I require. If that should happen, there will be no need...
So it's a no, then. That's too bad. The Reed tonic could have really helped people, you know, saved lives. Isn't that what you do? I mean, people buy that Swamburer's shit.
I want to know everything about the recent violence, Cadogan. And I want the truth.
Well, rent may be a bit high, and yeah, I've had to evict a few people. But that's business, isn't it?
Take this as my final warning. You will not profit from the misery of others. Business is one thing, but what you do is quite another.
Really? What you gonna do? You ain't from here. You ain't Whitechapel, Doctor. You wouldn't know the first thing about playing dirty, even if you wanted to.
You seem to have
Not much. It was a fucking nightmare.
You'd better not come back here. I won't. Goodbye. Mr. Bates.
Evening.
Since I took an oath to...
Well...
I will... Good... Excuse me, sir.
Another journalist? I didn't answer.
I'm not a journalist.
A doctor, you say?
Really? But still...
I'm Joe Peterson to some, but Colossus Joe to most. And I don't remember asking for your service, sir.
Have you heard...
Dorothy Crane? Yeah, I know her.
Could you please tell me...
She's a nice girl. Tries to help.
May I ask what...
I do whatever I want, and sometimes even more.
According to you, physicians are scarce in this part of town.
Not familiar with this neighborhood, are you?
This part of town does have quite a reputation. Would you say it's...
Totally. Look at me, for instance. I always look my opponent in the eye before knocking him out.
Goodbye. Hello, young man. I'm Dr. Reed, and I would like to ask you a few questions. May I enter, please?
Sorry, no, sir. My father does not like people entering our house, you see.
All right. Good evening.
I'm afraid...
You don't seem well, but...
I always feel ill, sir. It's like I'm never right.
I can try to help your body heal, sir. But you must stop destroying it.
The war destroyed me, Doctor.
A gun?
Distribute flowers at this hour.
Mr. Bates.
Evening.
Since I took an oath...
Well...
Infecting you is probably the last thing on these people's minds. Take this, in any case.
What? You give me this for free? Don't have a clue about this.
Goodbye, Mr. Bates.
What do you want?
Good evening, sir. I'm Dr...
There is no Dorothy Crane here.
I'm afraid this medical leaflet says the opposite, sir.
Really? Well, I'm afraid I'm going to close this door right now.
To enter that house, I must discover who this man really is. Maybe I could start by observing what he's up to.
A strange man was at the door with a pass for our medical facility. I refused him entry.
Darius, how could you know he didn't need our help?
His clothes were too finely tailored to be from Whitechapel.
Perhaps just a friend of that stray poet who is always about.
Richard Nethercott? No, not of the same cloth, this man. I suspect some machination from that journalist.
Clayton Darby. Is he still asking questions?
Yes. I saw him drifting around St. Mary's Church. I swear he is tracking me just downwind.
I must talk to that journalist or the poet. They must know about Darius. Nearby the church they just mentioned.
This district seems to get ugly.
It's locked, all right. I cannot enter.
Someday you'll understand. You've wasted
How are
your
you,
life
boy?
away.
I'm not your boy, all right?
Do you need assistance?
Please.
There you go.
Very funny.
Goodbye.
Me, I'll not die in some piss stinking alley drinking worse than a weak old lappy. Boy.
Good evening.
I'd like to see what kind of...
When science fails you, this elixir will give you faith again.
It's time to see if this Christina is still working nearby.
This is crushed to It's a killer!
Not exactly a treasure chest. A battered box. Love letter from Joe Peterson's wife. Addressed to Barrett Lewis. Who should I give it to, I wonder?
Joe. Come on, we can sort it out, right?
It's not my call, Barrett. You pay one way or another.
Please, Joe. How long have we known each other? We even used to be neighbours, for Christ's sake.
I'd prefer not to give you another beating, Barrett.
Welcome, sir. Please, take a browse of my...
I'm Dr. Reed.
Doctor? Interesting.
Barrett, you have...
Yeah, I did. She's the only woman I loved. My first regret is that she stayed with Joe after Harry was born. The second is I never shed a tear when she died.
Do you mean you're Harry's father?
No one will ever know for sure. And it's better that way. And I don't believe I'd have been all that bad as a dad.
Did you ever try?
Never. But I suspected he knew everything, even without knowing it. And he decided to make me pay in his own way.
How is business?
Business? I have no business.
I see. Sounds like you blame someone in...
It's no secret Joe Peterson spends his time harassing merchants.
As a merchant, you see Whitechapel every...
Well, you mean besides the epidemic, the war, and...
Violence?
Yeah. A few nights ago, some blokes jumped me. Came out of one of the condemned workshops.
Where did this happen?
In the closed workshops nearby.
Have you been?
No, but that's only because I ran like hell.
I found this box in an abandoned building.
Let's have a look. Yeah, this is mine.
I suppose I was lucky.
Luck is a commodity round here.
About this package, it's not just tools and trinkets, is it?
I want to be rude or anything after your kind gesture, but...
Have you heard of a nurse?
Nurse Crane?
So she's trying to help her fellow immigrants. Why?
Dorothy Crane ain't even a real name. Something like Dorothea Craniu. Something like that. Came to England fleeing the war, I was told.
That doesn't explain why she irritates you so much.
Your precious Nurse Crane gives away medical supplies and prescriptions for free. I offered to sell it for a fair cut, but no. Miss Crane wanted to play the quiet saint.
Right then. Show me.
I know it's hard to believe, but this district has always been wretched.
You again?
How did you become the local?
There's no pride in roughing up poor bastards. But this is the only job I've found. And it pays well, too.
A job? So you're racketeering for someone else?
I got enlisted by the Wet Boot Boys, a gang from the docks. I'm their muscle for their dirty work.
You survive at any cost, even...
I don't care what you think, sir. I do what I have to do for my own reasons, and that's that.
I'm not sure Mr. Lewis would agree with your...
Oh, do you really think he's the poor victim here? Barry.
Goodbye. Hello, young man. It's me.
I told you before.
Your father is worried about you.
So my father actually worries about me then? Even my dreams are soaked with glue.
So?
I'm not bothered.
Do you need any
Yes, I do.
You'll feel better with this.
I'm not sure I'm happy with the idea of living long in a world like this. But I thank you.
Do you know?
Yes, I know her. She came here to examine me when I was...
How do you feel?
I'm fine. I mean, it's not easy every day, but I'm fine.
Speaking of which... What can you tell me about...
My father is an idiot who makes idiot things. That's all I have to say.
Forgive my bluntness, young man.
Why should I? I never wanted to come here in the first place. It was my father's decision. And look around you.
I'm sure your father did his best.
That's exactly what my father says. Harry, you should be grateful for what you've got. But I wasn't even consulted when we moved here.
If life here is so...
I don't go outside. It terrifies me so.
So that's why you stay at home all day? For fear of the epidemic?
I'm not afraid of disease or death, Dr. Reed. It's the living I'm afraid of.
Your father and Mr. Lewis used to be good...
I was young then. I don't remember Mr. Lewis ever coming back again after my mother died. Or was it after my father started bullying him? I don't know.
Have you tried speaking?
I don't go out often, but yes. And he scolded me and told me to leave him alone. I guess my father frightens him too much.
But you are not responsible for your...
Am I not? Dad always says that he joined that gang for my safety. So if I wasn't born, people wouldn't be worrying about Colossus Joe.
Do you remember when Barrett Lewis was close to your family? To your mother?
Not really. I was too young. But I remember it was a happier time. Mr. Lewis was funny. He often had dinner with us.
How was he towards you?
He was nice, I guess. He never forgot my birthday. He always offered me books. I liked books.
Why are you...
Because it hurts to remember a time when my father used to laugh and smile. It hurts to realise he's as sad as me now.
Goodbye, young.
Is there only pain and suffering in this world?
Don't be shy.
I'm not looking for what you're selling.
All right then, but be quick.
Christina, have you been examined?
I don't like doctors. Oh.
Do you need any... I'm shocked.
Forgive my suspicion. I'm so used to liars with good manners.
Tell me about it.
Are you joking with me?
I have no interest in your work.
Short story. The war, exile, and England. This country is not especially welcoming. I've been refused many jobs because of where I am from. I had few options left.
I always thought I was the master of my own fate. But now I know we don't...
You know, this money is not only for me. I have...
Christine...
I don't...
Considering your...
If it is going to happen, it will happen.
You can put your own life in danger.
And you think that would worry me? If you knew...
Goodbye. Forgive my interruption.
Do not apologize, my son.
I am Dr. John...
A scientist? You are much...
What do you mean when you...
All scientists are entangled in a world of causes and consequences. And most of them can't see the plain truth.
Quite a judgmental opinion, if you ask me. But what do I know? Blinded by science as I am.
But you are seeking answers, aren't you? Answers about the Armageddon about to strike the city. Answers about the hidden truth.
Well, I suppose I can spare a few minutes.
As a doctor, you must be aware of...
What do you mean?
The beast is finally revealing itself, corrupting the flesh.
Really? And...
We must fight the disease before this...
What is left then?
Cleansing.
Tell me, Tobias, what...
God will recognize his own. More than once this city has risen from the ashes, hardened and purified by the flames.
Purification by fire has proved useful.
Your lack of faith is...
You're mad and dangerous. You're nothing but a soulless butcher. A small-time Torquemada. The Savonarola of Whitechapel.
My son, if you think salvation is a free gift, Go listen to the lies of that pompous fool, Joseph.
Joseph, a fool?
Vicar Larrabee of St. Mary's Church. While he continues preaching.
What do you mean when you say that
all scientists are in
quite a judgmental...
Well, you...
Have you any friend?
No. But I have a disciple I see as my son.
You sent him on some preaching crusade?
As a true believer.
Where did you...
I sent Samuel to the Stonebridge Cemetery.
I have...
Excuse me, sir. Are you from...
Sorry, I'm new to Whitechapel. But...
Dr. Reed, the famous sir...
I heard you're investigating.
Not much, I'm afraid. They are wary of...
I'm afraid one of the nurses from the Pembroke Hospital may be involved with unsavory activities.
Ah, could it be Dorothy Crane?
Without a doubt, you are a damn fine journalist, Mr. Darby. What do you know of her accomplice, a man named Darius?
I don't know much about the man. He's very cautious.
He has no...
No, except for that strange man.
Where can I find?
He spends most of his time lurking around.
He never...
No. A few days ago, he unexpectedly did. I followed him, but it was just a ruse to keep me away from his house.
Really? How do you know?
He went to the nearest mailbox, but just before posting his letter, he ripped it up and threw it away.
Why are the newspapers keeping silent about the Spanish influenza? It's as though none of you care.
There's a war going on. People shouldn't be demoralized by news of deadly diseases.
It's a disgrace. People are left to die alone. No one is properly informed of the risks.
These are bad times indeed. So much for the glorious British Empire.
Have you any idea of the danger you face in these streets at night?
I've had to run and hide more than once from frenzied mobs.
I'm convinced there is more at work here than a simple epidemic.
Really? To be honest, I could say the same. Some of the sick I saw or heard of. My God, what happened to them?
What does a journalist do?
He goes where none of his colleagues would dare to go, to inform the country.
So you risk your life?
Whitechapel is the crucible of so many untold stories and tragedies. I want people to know them.
Do you need...
That would be enough.
If you persist in investigating...
Thank you, sir.
Christina Popper claims she sells her body because...
Of course I do. Her story is exactly what I want my readers to understand. We live in an intolerant and divided nation.
Do you think things will ever change, Mr. Darby?
I believe the situation can only improve. And now that women can vote, I'm convinced things will change.
What is a journalist doing?
He goes...
That's quite...
Not at all, sir. And...
Goodbye. It's locked, all right. Good evening, miss. I know what you're thinking. Melia, I know you work for Dorothy. A stubborn and mute comrade. I know you understand what I'm saying. Very well. It's locked. The content of Darius' letter to his children could give me more leverage to enter. I cannot enter.
You are blinded by your false faith.
Good evening, sir. I'm Dr.
Please be my guest. Although I may not be the best in...
Really? Are you an artist of some kind?
I'm a poet, sir.
May I ask what you're doing?
Not at all. I'm just enjoying the pleasure of a quiet walk.
But are you not?
Oh, why should I? I see some equity in the Spanish flu.
If you say so.
Thank you, Doctor.
What are your thoughts on the terrible
Terrible, you say? No. Of course, the death of so...
What are you talking about?
Do you remember London before the flu? Noisy, cacophony.
Peaceful. That's quite an unusual...
Most people fail to understand my perspective.
Are you aware that your life could be...
But this is where I must be to feel the...
I understand.
I don't care.
If some misfortune came upon...
Well, you, for a start.
Do you need medical...
It may...
I will see... Did you know the mute florist is...
No, I didn't. But I thank you for this information, sir.
Are you not curious? Is there...
That girl has not an ounce of malice in her.
I fear you are a hopeless romantic.
Guilty as charged.
Tell me, Mr. Nethercott, why seek inspiration in Whitechapel?
The place is not beautiful per se, but how to explain it? Stirring and...
Do you not think...
On the contrary, sir. Whitechapel is full of...
What can you tell me?
Not much. And that's the beauty of it. She can't speak.
Perhaps you're just afraid to find out.
One day, perhaps. I'll ask her.
And have you ever tried?
Maybe I prefer she remains an enigma. Reality can be...
In what way?
The struggle by gaslight.
If you say so.
Such vibrant antagonism.
Vivid, of course, yes. And what about the...
Oh yes, the poignant...
May I ask you...
Extraordinary part of town, is it not?
I'm looking for Dorothy...
Dorothy Crane. Oh,
What can you tell me about an old man called...
Darius Petrescu? Yes, I know him. At first, I thought he was only a small publisher. I invited him to publish my work, but his reaction was pretty clear.
Not interested in your talent?
Darius is an old political activist who takes delight in printing tracts and lampoons. Those communist activities only require mediocre writing skills.
I'll leave you. Darius is a bit less of a mystery now. It should not be that difficult to incite him to... Let me in.
Stupid beast! Gone back to the shadows! This one's mine!
Carnage. Is Father Whitaker's disciple among... This man's far too old to be Samuel. No. By the look of his clothes, this man's a docker. Samuel isn't here. I had better follow the blood trail. It's locked. As I feared, Samuel no longer preaches the good word.
know, from a statistical perspective, there's a lot of homosexuality in this game. Especially for the time period. I'm against such a thing, but we see if a trend, and I do not like being preached to.
Are you all right, Miss Shun?
My name is Xiao Shun. This is the proper way to address someone in my country.
I do apologize, Xiao Shun. Are you all right? Tell me how your husband...
Matthew died of the Spanish flu, like so...
At this time, there is so little medical science can do.
The worst thing is not his death, even if it tears me apart. The worst is not to have seen it coming. To have lost him so quickly, even before realizing it.
Did he hide his condition from you?
Matthew was a smiling type.
The Spanish flu may be the worst
You don't understand. I didn't know he was so sick. I didn't realize the gravity of his situation until it was too late.
As harsh as this sounds, we are all... equally vulnerable to this awful disease. It can take the strongest man in just a couple of days.
I never said goodbye to Matthew. We never realized how bad it was. We laughed about it even. He always made me laugh. Now I don't have enough tears to shed.
Are you on your...
I have family and...
I've seen many deaths in my...
Thank you for your...
Are you a doctor yourself? Is this why you feel so guilty for not saving your sick husband?
No, I am not. But I still need to blame someone for Matthew's death. And who else, if not his wife, who did not see it coming?
I'm a physician. One of the best in the country. But I was unable to save my own sister, Mary. She died in my arms.
Why tell me this? Is it supposed to make me feel better?
No. But I wanted you to know that you have done nothing wrong. Unlike me.
May I ask what caused the death of your sister?
You could say she was also killed by a terrible disease. A disease I have sworn to fight and cure, no matter how long it takes.
Thank you for sharing that with me, Dr. Reed. Maybe it's time we start to rebuild our lives, you and I.
You should go.
I think you're right. Cemeteries are for the dead.
Thank you for your...
Maybe I'll...
Goodbye.
You know you can trust me.
Get back! It ain't human! Go on back to the shadows! I shall fear!
This man stunned me with his faith. His crucifix. This is not good news. Good evening, Miss.
It's Father Whitaker, my son.
I have found...
I already expected the worst. He should already have come back. He is dead, isn't he?
Yes, he is now.
Samuel steadily made donations to our cause. He would have rewarded you himself if you'd found me in that awful cemetery. Please accept this money.
Why did you send...
I sent him on a vision. A dream of a dreadful and laughing queen covered with blood, sleeping with the dead and feeding on the fear of the dying.
A laughing queen?
This epidemic is her feast, the announcement of her return. Against her, science is no more than a child's toy.
But who is she?
She is the mother of harlots and abomination of...
What? You... Good evening,
It's
Tobias Whitaker, confess what...
I have done what no one was ready to do. I will smite...
You are just another heartless murderer, exploiting the...
No! No.
You're not the savior of London.
I take no pleasure in this awful cleansing, Dr. Reed. I am only...
Your disciple, Samuel, stole from the dead...
No! Samuel was the best of us. So...
He defiled the dead with his petty thefts.
Think what you will. When this city is...
Mr. Petrescu.
You again.
Sir, wait. Don't you see we're on the same side?
I'm nothing like you.
Yes, you are. You too believe.
I have to admit your words have conviction. All right. If you want...
We've not been formally introduced.
I am Darius Petre.
I know you fought.
I know my days are numbered.
But Romania escaped the grasp of the Austro-Hungarian Empire. It's a free country again.
But it's not the country I fought for. My homeland is not appeased, Doctor. And I still see it.
How did you meet Nurse?
I'm her oldest friend in England. Dorothea and I share many...
You mean occupied Romania, don't you? Even if not...
Really? Then perhaps you have more in common with Dorothea.
Do you have any family?
Who knows? I have abandoned my people for so long, they...
Don't be embarrassed, sir. If you must know...
It's quite awkward to talk about our...
This war...
No. I have...
Tell me everything.
I do not believe in the afterlife, Doctor. But I'm almost convinced Camellia is an angel. She volunteered to give out our medical leaflets.
Are you not what?
She is as brave as she is tough.
Are you in love with Commander?
Don't be stupid. If I had met her when I was younger, we could have won our revolution.
Who is she, really?
She's not from Ra...
You say she had...
Well, there's that awful...
So Dorothy...
Like myself and many people...
She seems important.
More than you can imagine. The West End does not want to...
Goodbye. What do we have here, nurse?
Patient Razvan Vasily. High fever running on 3 days. Complaints of dizziness, muscle aches, and head pain. Diagnosed with influenza.
Treatment?
Aspirin and salicin for the fever and discomfort. Liquids for dehydration, but he's having trouble keeping even water down.
Aspirin and salicin, you say? Why not some warm milk and a kiss on the cheek? Where are the quinine salts?
Tried buying, borrowing, even stealing. There's none to be found, Doctor.
He's not convulsing, he's choking. He's not getting any air. Scalpel! Hand me that scalpel!
What can I do, Doctor?
It's too dangerous to operate with these convulsions. Sedative, nurse. Do we have any anesthetics?
I'm sorry, Doctor. None at all.
I need to perform a tracheostomy. Short pipe. That rubber tube will do. We're going to cut a passage for air through the neck.
Yes, Doctor. He's breathing again, but he's coughing up blood.
Internal hemorrhaging. I need to make another incision into the chest cavity to drain the fluids from the lung. Prepare another tube.
A thoracostomy? Doctor, we've nothing to fight the infection. We need an aseptic environment.
Right then, Nurse Crane. What do you suggest we do?
I've no idea. I'm not the doctor.
Time is of the essence. We need to perform a thoracic drain.
Yes, Doctor. He's still bleeding, Doctor. I'm losing his pulse.
The drain must have punctured the intercostal artery. There's too much blood.
Are you all right, Doctor?
I can't see. I must first suture the artery. Find the wound. The source of the blood.
Needle and thread, Doctor.
Good. The stitches are holding. How's he doing?
We're losing him. We've lost his pulse. He's dying, Doctor!
Cardiac massage, now.
Cardiac... What? Are you making this up as you go along? We've lost the pulse. He's gone, Doctor.
Nurse, we did everything we could.
Truly? Everything you could? Is that how you'll report this in your log? Is this how the war went? Piling up one poor corpse beside the next?
This was not an influenza-induced seizure. I've never seen symptoms like these on the continent.
Neither have I. But the previous symptoms leading up to this attack were the same, indistinguishable from the epidemic.
No. There was something more vile in these reactions. Something primitive.
There have been numerous reports of mental breakdowns caused by the fever that accompanies the flu itself, Doctor.
Yes, but... I'd best take some samples of the blood for analysis.
I doubt you're here to test my bedside manners. I suspect it was more than intuition alone that led you to us. So, how might I be of service, Dr. Reed?
I've come to put an end to this insufferable blackmailing, Dorothy.
Doctor, you think your warnings scare me? I've stolen and plied, blackmailed and lied, but what else am I to do? I'm all these people have.
But why Lady Ashby?
She's pristine and proper, all right. But that she-wolf in sheep's clothing murders the poor for sport. I have her where she belongs, and I'll milk her for all she's got.
Dr. Swansea is a sensible and honest man. He wouldn't have refused—
It's easy for you to say, Doctor. These people cannot go to the police, nor to the hospital. They don't even speak English. They depend on me for everything.
So, the end justifies—
I know you're kind, Doctor. Just another fine-heeled, silver-spooned gentleman who was given the world on a platter. You know nothing of poverty. Nothing of the shame, the hunger, the loneliness.
I do, and she's full of shit.
You've convinced me of the sincerity of your actions and their noble justifications. But all the same, blackmail is a crime, and it will stop, Nurse Crane.
So, are you going to turn me over to the authorities?
No. Your place is here. Jailing you would be an even greater crime. So, here is my proposition. I'll look the other way on your little enterprise. In exchange, you will resign from the Pembroke Hospital. and provide me with medical supplies when the need arises.
Dr. Reed! That sounds like a business proposition. My accomplice, then?
No, just a privileged client. My research may require the occasional rare piece of equipment or ingredient. I'll pay good coin in exchange, fair and honest, to help finance your noble endeavors.
We have ourselves a deal, Doctor. Good customers are always welcome.
Yes, Nurse Crane. We have a deal. It's locked. It's locked. I cannot enter.
No civilians are the trust of the Legion, boys! Fight for this! I'll kill it!
Hello, Mr. Petrescu.
Hello, Dr. Reed. Yes?
Do you need some help?
I am very tired.
Well?
Free drugs.
Good. Human blood. Whoever left these marks did so deliberately.
Kill it, boy! There's one of them vermin! Crush the leech, boys!
I would ask you to avert your eyes, sir. Or did you not know it was rude to stare?
I knew it.
Speak up, Dr. Reed. I like a man who speaks his mind.
Hiding your true appetites behind a facade of compassion. Bravo. Very clever indeed.
Spare me your sarcasm, Jonathan. You are but newly born in this world.
So in the end, the accusation was true, wasn't it?
The situation is somewhat awkward nonetheless. I have not been observed sustaining myself for many decades. I have to say I'm a trifle embarrassed.
Anyway, I have concluded my inquiries concerning your blackmailer.
I see. Please excuse my agitated state. Under normal circumstances, I wouldn't let anyone see me in this condition.
I must confess I have not put an end to the blackmail, my lady. Unfortunately, I could not bring myself to do it.
I'm so disappointed in you, Jonathan.
Lady Ashbury, you yourself admitted how ridiculous the sum of money was. I can assure you, it was all used for charitable ends.
Well, you are full of surprises, aren't you, Jonathan? All right, say I trust you. But you will still pay the ransom. That is only fair. After all, it was you who failed to bring this problem to a satisfactory conclusion.
I believe I could agree to that.
And since a lady always keeps her promises, I will now answer any questions you may have.
Are there many vampires?
Immortals are of a rare breed, and we often tend to hide. But you may occasionally meet some of us at night.
Will they all be as affable as you?
I do not see why not. But remember, even the sharks smile.
That sounds like a lesson from it.
Vampire politics are as intricate and sometimes tedious as a game of chess in a gentleman's club. I've learned from experience it is best to decline to play.
Do you know any of them? Have you an idea of the identity of the vampire who attacked?
You mean your maker? No, Jonathan, I have no clue. But
what do you mean?
Every now and then, you may discover an immortal in the deep of the night. But we are a rare and reclusive breed. Our progeny is almost never accidental.
When I awoke, changed, I was chased and attacked by vampire hunters. Prepared and well-trained.
Though I can't be certain, more than likely it was the once glorious Guard of Priwen.
Once glorious, but still dangerous.
They have seen better days, but all fanatics are dangerous. You would be wise to stay clear. They are sworn to destroy our kind.
You make them sound like some...
More a society, and like all the best ones, a secret society. I thought them almost gone, but it seemed they have been recruiting.
I've been away from London and England for 3 years.
Things have gone from bad to worse here, Jonathan. I've lived in this city for a long time, and I've never seen it like this.
The Spanish flu has hit London that bad.
Yes, but it's not just that. I've heard things. Things I've not heard for a very, very long time. There are whispers in the shadows. Something far worse than the Spanish flu is here in the city.
What is it you fear?
Fear has long since flown this form. But there is something malevolent circling us. I feel fear is merely waiting in the wings.
I know this is beyond the pale, but may I...
Really? And I thought you were gentlemen. If you must know, I'm 27. I've been 27 for a long time now, and 27 I shall remain.
And who bestowed upon you this?
My maker. He left this art...
Very well. But I believe there is more to this.
A lady has to have...
Why does Dr. Swansea allow you to...
Dr. Swansea is a good and compassionate man. He is trying to find a solution for our... hunger. Until that happens, he is clever enough to understand that I only feed upon the dying.
And no one...
As you well know, suspicion has recently fallen on me of killing...
What do you know about this brother?
The Brotherhood is well known amongst London vampire society. As long as our kind is discreet, and as long as they do not interfere, we have come to a mutual understanding.
Why did you save me?
I could hardly stand by and watch such a promising young blood as yourself be torn to shreds by some gutter skull.
What type of vampire is a skull?
Not a true vampire. The deformed offspring of lesser vampires. It is a shame these creatures run wild, slaves to their baser instincts.
William Bishop wasn't the vampire that created...
No, Jonathan. Whatever their strength and demeanor, Skulls are the progeny of careless vampires. It cannot be the other way round.
I've been hearing a voice talking in my head.
Hush. Tell no one this. It would be unwise to talk of such things amongst British immortals. Speak no more of your maker.
Excuse my forwardness.
Me? Goodness, no. Only a foolish immortal would create a progeny without taking precaution, and I'm no fool.
How could this cause a...
Only the powerful immortals can mentally call to their progeny. No vampire or hunter will sleep easy, knowing that an unidentified elder is stalking the streets of London.
I don't understand. Why was I...
That is a question only the one who made you can answer. It's not normal practice. I doubt even if you find him, he will answer you, considering how cruelly he treated you.
So me being a vampire?
I very much doubt it, Jonathan. Contrary to the legends, it is not as simple to make another vampire by just biting someone.
I'd like to avoid creating another vampire by mistake anyway.
The process is dangerous. It could even kill your potential progeny. If you did decide to sire an offspring, they must drink of your blood, Jonathan.
A vampire?
Such a crude word, defined by penny dreadfuls and drunken hacks. No. You are now an Ekon, and that you shall remain.
So we are Ekons. How can I identify us amongst other vampires?
How to put it? All Ekon are vampires, but all vampires are not Ekon. We are but a branch of the immortal tree.
Are you?
Yes, I am. We are the closest thing to what man refers to as vampires. Forget what you think you know about us.
I bid you farewell. For now, my lady. I must quickly analyze the blood I took from Nurse Crane's patient. Razvan Vasily was infected by Spanish flu, but also has the highly unstable blood of the Skulls. Is the London vampire epidemic transmitted through the flu? I should talk to Dr. Swansea about it. Evening, Edgar. Could I get your...
Please, speak.
But this strain of flu, it's very different from the one I saw in Europe. It's downright peculiar.
Really? What makes you say that?
I've just looked at the blood of one of our recently deceased.
I see. Do you have anything more to go on?
This disease spreads and looks like the Spanish flu, but its effects differ greatly. The London strain is different from the continental one.
This is very interesting. Did you find something else?
Yes. Unlike the flu, the infected begin to show an increase in outwardly aggressive behavior. More than simple agitation. Once docile people become violent.
You mean like rabies? Is there a chance we could create a vaccine, Jonathan, like Pasteur? By the stole, that would be smashing.
There's a lot we're not seeing here. But it is spreading, and quickly. If we don't act, the whole city could be lost.
But Jonathan, we've a fantastic opportunity sitting right here in front of us. A weapon of choice.
What on earth do you mean?
Why, you, my dear boy. With your expertise and your blood, we could isolate the properties that course through your veins. Think about the possibilities.
I admit it did occur to me. Blood...
I totally agree. We're in uncharted...
We'll discuss this more.
No, thank you, Jonathan. But as I said, I needed to talk to you. I have some...
Yes?
I'm afraid it's your sister.
My sister?
She's to be buried this evening at Whitechapel Cemetery. Your mother published the obituary this morning.
I see.
I'm sorry, Jonathan.
Vaccine wouldn't even work. Vaccines don't prevent against mutagens, only viral infections, and only a very limited amount of viral infections. Now, see, the Spanish influenza was actually a highly mutageous virus, which is why creating a vaccine for it was actually impossible. It actually stopped killing people, not because we cured it, but because it is theorized that it actually mutated into a form which can no longer infect human beings. In other words, you cannot make a vaccine for this. Including our little discussion of biology. Establish yet earlier there the news are not reporting on the epidemic. If they're not reporting on the epidemic, why would it suddenly say, well, the epidemic spreads more and more? Wouldn't everyone reading this be like, what epidemic?
Strickland's project could be dangerous. I have a mind to report him to Dr. Ackroyd.
Well, that's gonna be all for tonight. This is back with the next awesome video, and I'll see you then. Peace out.